increasing consumption of fossil fuels, a growing population, rising food prices, excessive emissions of greenhouse gases. Humankind faces many challenges in the 21st century. At the beginning of the year, Euronews began seeking out leading scientists and industrialists to see how they think we should face up to these issues. Our first trip took us to Oslo, Norway, to speak to Dr. Olav Orheim, a glaciologist and a world expert on climate change.
We have to reduce our dependency on oil. We've had this very, very cheap energy. We've had that for about 100 years. We're going to see that being phased out. And that means enormous changes to society. The public has to accept that certain things has to be done for it to be solved in 20 years or 30 years. I'm an optimist on the future because this is a human-made problem. Us humans have made it, and that means it's also possible for us humans to solve it.
But how will climate change affect our weather? We spoke to Professor Nigel Arnell in Reading, UK.
I would not be surprised if we didn't see a much greater drought than we've ever seen before, or a series of greater floods than we've seen before. I'm not predicting that, but the weather system we know is so changeable and is so sensitive to relatively small changes in the energy balance that these sort of things could happen. At the same time, we also know that there are rhythms in the North Atlantic, and we may be heading towards a relatively cool phase in the North Atlantic, so things may cool down relatively for a few years. The more we understand about the system, the more likely we'll be able to make projections of the chance of strange things happening.
Many say we should live more sustainably. A former Swedish industrialist, Bjorn Stigson, now leads the World Business Council for Sustainable Development, representing 200 companies worldwide.
The big balancing act we have today in the world is between poverty alleviation and environment. And it becomes very clear when we look at things like climate change. If we want to alleviate poverty, then you need economic growth. And that economic growth won't happen if we don't have access to energy. And that energy is normally fossil fueled energy. And that fossil fuel is creating climate change. So the big balancing act now internationally, when we talk about how do we deal with climate, is find this balancing act between development, poverty alleviation, and dealing with climate change.
Several scientists offered unusual solutions. Athena Kustanis, a world-renowned expert on Titan, believes the answer may lie outside our planet.
Our planet cannot handle, first of all, the way we're using it, second of all, the way we're populating it. There's too many of us here, and we're using up all the resources that we have. So eventually we're going to have to find new places for this kind of resources that we need. We're going to have to explore our own solar system and colonize it in the right sense of the term, not destroying anything, but move to other planets eventually.
Roboticist Stefanos Dramigioli said we could conserve energy by using clever machines.
Robots can certainly help. They are already employed in many applications like unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, for monitoring. We can work on machines which, like we are doing on batteries and other things, which are using little energy. But of course the robot will use energy. But of course if you make machines that use little energy, that will certainly help.
And Miroslav Radman said the new science of biotechnology offers limitless opportunities.
The resources are there. Huge number of genes that function closed in the boxes of species. Why not symbiotically associate in the same organism photosynthesis that uses just sunlight and water and CO2, pumps the CO2 in order to make sugars, associated with something that yeast is doing, that is fermentation, such that the sugars that are made this way, in a very ecological way, are fermented into ethanol or butanol, and use then this directly as a source of energy.
Ahmet Lokalu's solar-powered air conditioning system is a revolution in hot countries. He believes alternative energy can supply many of our needs.
We have to increase renewable energies. In solar-rich countries, you can use more solar energy. In other countries, wind energy, and other biomass, and so on. So that we have no unique solution for every country. We have a mixture for each country, but the future should be renewable.
Professor Didier Sonnet said that human beings are at their best in adversity.
Mankind has shown in the past a remarkable ability to confront difficulties. I think that humans are at their best when they have a challenge to grasp, to attack. So if we are able to cooperate and to face this challenge, we can really evolve to a new level of conscience. So that's a great opportunity, I think.
The overwhelming message was that we have to work together. None said this more eloquently than Jose Esquinas, a world-renowned expert on biodiversity.
We have at the moment more instruments than ever before, from resources to technology. We will be able to construct the future in the way we want. Point is which kind of future we want to construct. And we are intrinsically linked to each other, people and countries. If our little boat, Earth, get a hole, we all can sink. It will affect to all of us. And therefore, we will be able to save all or to perish all of us together.